I was Chaim Beil, Chaim Yafa, Chaim Daniel. I think Yafa's trying to talk, but she's muted. Can people unmute themselves? Yeah.
Yeah, I said l'chaim. Can you hear me?
L'chaim, l'chaim. Everybody.
Amen. Oh, I got kicked out.
Yeah, blessings.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. So this is going to be an extra special Farbrengen Thursday night Farbrengen, because in addition to having a normal Thursday night Farbrengen where we discuss the Parsha and the current dates that are special and on Chabad calendar, especially we're coming from Yud based in Yud Gimel Tammuz, today we also make a Siyum HaRambam. So as is our custom, we always start with one in-text, something from the Rebbe. Rabbi Zion's joined. Very good. So we're going to start with Inyana Mashiach Gula from the Rebbe. The Rebbe actually said this in 1991, Parshas Pinchas, and it says, the Rebbe says that all the signs for the redemption indicate that we're literally at the redemption. As my sainted father-in-law Pablo says and declared, we have completed everything necessary for the redemption, even the polishing of the buttons and stands all of you ready has also been achieved. This means that all is prepared and ready for the banquet, and that we are ready to approach the table and partake of the feast of the Rabbi Hassan, the Sharabar, because behold, he, the King Mashiach, is coming imminently. L'chaim. All right, Rabbi, you're up.
Good evening. Yashikoyach to the Parsha by the Pit, to the Thursday weekly Farbrengen. It's mamish with tremendous simcha that we are making a Siyum HaRambam, and every time that we make a Siyum is a time for us to get inspired, and always to
my Zoom or her Zoom?
Getting inspired doesn't mean for a person to think I'm going for the next 12 months. I'm aiming to that, but the way to successfully go for the next 12 months is by making whatever you feel is a hachlata that's not too easy, but it's doable. For some people, that's 1 week. For some people, that's 3 weeks. But now is mamish the time to be inspired. There are tens of thousands of Yidden that mamish learn this every day. And you have hundreds of thousands of Jews that I would say 90% of the time they are on this program, and every year it grows exponentially. One of the beautiful things about the daily learning of Rambam is that there are many daily learnings, which is great. There are many daily learnings, and some of them are not for all. I would even argue that most of the daily shiurim are in topics that are complex, so they don't speak to everyone. And the Rebbe, and that's the Rebbe, who was a Rebbe of every single Jew, always instituted Seder Limudim that he used to term it as Shava L'chol Nefesh. Shava L'chol Nefesh means is that everyone is able to get onto this bandwagon. And you would think Rambam is the most complex. No, it's not. No, it's not. The Rebbe gave an option of learning one chapter a day. The Rebbe said there's another option of learning in mitzvahs a day, and all of these things are properly already disseminated online. You have classes, you have audio, you have video, you have text, you have chayenus, you have Devar Malchusin, you have them in many languages already. And indeed, we are seeing that people are mamish able to keep up. That's the beauty about it. So when we get on to a seder of daily learning that we know we are connecting with mamish, now it's going to be already in the hundreds of thousands of Jews throughout the world are learning the same thing every single day. That in itself creates a tremendous achdus amongst Jewish people. Hashgacha Prat is also that our women's class now is about Inyane, Mashiach and Geula, on that order, because the Rambam speaks about Mashiach and then about Geula. And as the Rebbe innovated, that when the Rambam speaks about in the beginning of chapter 11, that Melech HaMashiach, he's going to restore the Davidic dynasty, and he is going to build the Beis HaMikdash, and he is going to gather the exiles, and he is going to enable us to keep all the mitzvahs. The Rebbe explains that this is the definition of Mashiach, or the goal of Mashiach, or the purpose of Mashiach, that the ultimate purpose of Mashiach is for us to be able to keep all the mitzvahs. Now, we are educated by the Rebbe to shout that we want Mashiach now in Ad Masai. And I know there are many ways of shouting it. One way is to shout the words Ad Masai, and that's fantastic. But that's not the only way of shouting Ad Masai. One great way of shouting Ad Masai, what's Mashiach? Mashiach is the time when all of us will be able to keep all the mitzvahs. And I'm quoting the Rosh, lives with this theme. So if the whole looking forward to Mashiach is looking forward to the time that we can actually keep all the mitzvahs, so even though now, a moment before the building of the temple, we cannot yet keep all the mitzvahs, but you know what? We could by learning about them. Because every mitzvah has the learning part and it has the practical part. Now the practical part, we are vulnerable, it's up to God. But the learning of that mitzvah is something that we can always do. Now, even when the temple is going to be built, Karban is primarily, the main part of the carbon is only during the day. But you know what? Learning about a carbon can be done at night. Torah is so beyond this world that it's beyond time and beyond space. Doesn't matter if, God forbid, we are in Golus, and God willing, we will be in Geula. It doesn't matter day or night. We are allowed to learn any part of the Torah anytime we want. In the temple, who does the Avodah? Kahanim. Who is allowed to learn about their Avodah? Me, you, anyone, anytime. So one of the ways that we express our desire for the coming of Mashiach, and at the same time, our demand of God that Ad Masai is by showing God that we are doing what we could. What does it mean we're doing what we could? That even though we can't yet practice it, but we can learn about it. And what's awesome about the HaRambam is, as the Rebbe spoke about it time and again after the Rebbe enacted this takana of learning the daily Rambam, that the Rambam himself had the courage to write something that might sound a little bit arrogant, but it's important for it to be written. And Rambam writes that you learn my series known as Yad HaChazaka, what we call Rambam, right? The 14 books, and you learn the entire oral Torah, the entire oral Torah. Before the Rambam and after the Rambam, you only learn part of it. The whole oral Torah is learning all of the Mishnayos, all of the Gemara, both Talmud Bavli and Talmud Yerushalmi, all of the Midrashim, that's Sifri, Safra, Toras Kohanim. Then you have Mechiltas, then you have Braisas, and you have Toseftas. You have no idea, and Midrashim, how many different parts of the oral Torah one needs to learn to say that they learned the whole Torah. And the Rambam did us a favor that he compiled everything. I know it's amazing. It takes people many years to learn it. But when you learn through the book of the Rambam, you mamish learn through the entirety of the oral Torah, and it fits with the Rebbe's goal. The Rebbe's goal is to bring Mashiach. Mashiach is about all of the mitzvahs. So if Mashiach is about all of the mitzvahs, what part of the Torah expounds and puts to paper all of the mitzvahs? There's only one, the Rambam. So it's also, the Rambam's book is very much connected to the imminent arrival of Mashiach. And having said all that, let's go inside at the last halacha. That's halacha 5, halacha hey, from the 12th chapter, which happens to be Thursday's chapter, both for people that learn a daily chapter a day, and for people that learn 3 chapters a day, and for those of us who are learning the mitzvahs a day. So it says that Rambam u'ba'oisa hazman, that in that time, which means when Mashiach will come, lo yiyasham, there won't be there, meaning here in the world, lo ra'av, not war, lo ra'av, nor hunger, lo milchama, nor war, there won't be envy, nor v'sachros, or competition. Now, obviously, there's a healthy competition. There is a competition that's admirable. Kina soifrim tar b'chachma. In other words, when I look at another yid and I see how much he or she is accomplishing, whether it is in doing maftzayim, whether it is in learning Torah in the Yiddishkeit, and I say, wow, they are a couple of steps ahead of me, I'm inspired. Not competing, but I'm inspired and I want to get there. That's great. That's great. That's not good. That's great. We're speaking about an unhealthy competition. All of these things are going to cease to exist when Mashiach is going to come. And why will that happen? That Rambam Lishitasai holds that there won't be a miraculous change in the initial stages of Yemais HaMashiach. Later, yes, the world will be a different one. The resurrection of the dead is the greatest miracle. But that won't necessarily happen in mass in the beginning. So you would think, Mela, there won't be hunger, Mela, there won't be war. Okay, I know we're not warriors, at least I can speak for myself. You're not a warrior. There won't be jealousy, there won't be competition. That's much harder to relate to. Like it sounds miraculous. So for that, the Rambam has to explain that why is it that when in the Yemais HaMashiach there won't be envy and there won't be competition? You know why? He says, because there's going to be a tremendous abundance of good in the world. And think about it, Taka. Think about envy. Why do people have envy? Because someone has something that you think you don't have. You know what happens when you look at something, you look at someone, and you know that whatever they have, you have, and you have even more. You're not going to envy them. I'm not going to envy them, not because I'm a tzaddik, because I have it already. And even with competition, we're speaking about a gashmisdika competition that's coming out of a negative emotion. That won't exist, not because we will necessarily reach the level of a tzaddik. Not yet, not then, not in the beginning. But there's going to be so much abundance that people won't be envious and they won't have to compete. And you know how much is much? And that which is considered the most precious will be as common as the dust. And as the Rebbe explains, and this is the nature of Gashmias. People can spend their whole life running after something, big Gashmias. You know what happens when they get it? I know that in Brazil, they say it tastes like ashes. Because you think, wow, it was so hard to get it, and I worked so much, and I finally got it, I'm going to enjoy it. No, you don't enjoy it as much as you imagined. All of that effort and all of that looking forward to never matches up with the Bapoil Mamash what you got. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because if a person spends 50 years of their lives trying to buy that great, amazing palace of a house, and then when they finally move in there, then they realize when they're already 70 years old, the whole avodah wasn't that worthwhile. It's not that geschmack. It's good, it's nice, but was it worth my life? It's too late. But imagine when we will have all of this good, you're going to be worth $100 million. If that number is good enough for you, you'll be worth $1 billion. Then you'll realize that all of the madanim, they'll be like dust. It's very important to have our needs, and Hashem shall bless us all with our needs, b'harchava. But then there comes a point when we realize that this is not the purpose of my life. It actually, even on my animal soul's level, I'm not that satisfied. I'm not that excited, right? You're going to have 2 jets. Shemela, then what? It's not going to do it for you. So we're going to, because of the tremendous abundance, and everyone will experience that all of what we consider the luxuries of the luxuries will be like the dust. Not only as in abundance, but we will emotionally not get that excited anymore. So now what? So what's the purpose of all of it? And my friends, this is the way God wired us. That when a person realizes that all material pursuits that are beyond what we need, and Hashem will bless us then that we will all have beyond what we need, that's not the goal in life. What we end up doing is we begin going after wisdom. And how lucky are we, Yidden, that we have godly wisdom, which is Torah. And this is all humanity. There's going to be abundance for everyone. So all of humanity is going to occupy themselves. Ella, Lodas, as Hashem, Bilvad, they're going to be pursuing the knowledge, the wisdom of understanding God and godliness. And all of a sudden, who has that merchandise? We, the Jewish people. Because God gave us the Torah. In other words, we have so much wealth that we ourselves don't appreciate enough yet. We have the answers before the questions, and the world doesn't even know that we have it. But then they will. And therefore, since the pursuit of the whole world will be to know God, now go know God. You have to, where do you begin? Who has books that speak about the emes, about godliness? Only the Yidden, we have it. So therefore, right, if the commodity, if that which everyone is pursuing is Lodas es Hashem, so therefore the Yidden will be considered then, and Chachamim Gedolim, and we will be Yoidim Devarim Hasasum, and we will then know, we will experience that which is hidden. You know, there were great Hasidim that said, after learning a lot of Hasidus, that they felt that they learned so much about godliness. So what's going to happen when Mashiach will come? They already learned Hasidus. So they answered that when Mashiach will come, we're going to say, aha. Aha means that now we're just reading the words, right? So we read all of these words that Hasidus brings of Kabbalah, but we don't have any experience of that. When Mashiach will come, we'll experience it. We'll have das. And we're going to say, that is what we were talking about. And veyasigu das boiram, and we will be able to grasp our Creator's das, kefi koyach adam, as much as humanly possible. And the Rebbe beautifully explains that this line, as much as humanly possible, is not a detrimental line. Well, as much as we can understand God, we'll understand God. Like, what can a human being anyways understand about God? No, the opposite. True that we are limited, we are a created being, but God put in us a tremendous koyach in our minds. The capacity of our minds is way beyond what we know now. And when Mashiach will come, we will be able to utilize our minds to their fullest potential, and they will be used for what? For the goal. The goal will be to understand more and deeper godliness. As it says, that then, which is imminently now, the world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem, kamayim layam achasim, just like the waters covers the yam, meaning, as the Rebbe explains, that when you look at the ocean, what do you see? A body of water. Do you have any idea what's in there? There's a whole world in there. There are big fish and there are little fish and there's different types of plants. And all of that, from our perception, from our perspective, they're not distinct things. It's a sea. It's one thing. You can have the Leviathan fish. You're looking at the sea. In other words, that godliness is going to be so filled in the world, and our understanding of godliness will be on such a high level that when we'll look out in the world, you know what we're going to see? We'll see godliness. A bigger person, a smaller person, this creation, that creation, all of that, as we just came off learning Shara Yichud V'Emunah, that once we'll get a higher understanding of Das, of the Creator, we're going to see a certain type of achdus, that you know what, the whole world is one thing, it's godliness. Taka, there are many things, and water, Taka, represents godliness, kiyadua. And with this, the Rambam wrote that Nishlamu, the Hilchais Malachim, Ba'achibar Kulai, with this we conclude the laws of kings and the entire great work of the Yad HaChazaka. And the Rambam says, Baruch Sha'amar, blessed is the one that through his words, the world came into being. And that's also very meaningful. Again, Shara Yichud V'Emunah, that what's Yichud Elah? Yichud Elah is fakat, since the world comes from God's speech. So if you remember, so there's a level there, God is united with his words, but then there's a higher level that the words are bottled in front of God. They're nullified in the presence of God. So this idea that Kimal ha'aretz de'as Hashem, both Yichud Elah and Yichud Tatah, both come from the concept that the world is created with words. So whether so sometimes we'll experience how the divine word is bottled, doesn't exist. Sometimes we'll experience, no, the world exists. But Hashem unites himself with his words because God wants for the world to exist. Both of them are Baruch Sha'amar, V'haya ha'olam, both bepratai u'b'chlali, both with all the details and in a very general way. When it comes to learning, so we say every morning, there's klal, prat, u'klal. That means the way we approach anything that we learn is first you have to get the bigger picture. You have to get a certain general understanding of the topic. Then you go to your capacity into the pratim, into the details. But then you have to go back into the klal. So the Seder of the Rambam is always, he begins with the klal. He begins listing the general mitzvahs. Then the Rambam goes into the details. But now that the Rambam ended the details, so he concludes, don't stop over here. Don't stop with the details. We had the klal, we had the prat. But the Rambam doesn't say b'chlal u b'prat. The Rambam says b'prat u b'chlal. Why? Because the beginning of the Rambam goes through the generalities. We're going to go through all of the mitzvahs right away in the beginning. And b'chlal, there's a rule. It's a rule already written in Sefer Yetzirah, which is probably the oldest Jewish Sefer that we have, known as Notes, Tchilas, and B'Seifan, that you have to wedge the end in the beginning and the beginning in the end. And when we say on Simchas Torah, right? When we give all of the big mishaberachs for the people that buy Hassan Torah, Hassan Bereishis, so it says that we are the word is escaping me. It's a word in Aramish again that we wedge. We're maskifin aschalta lahashlama. I'm misquoting it, but the concept is that we finish Leis HaBracha, and we right away have to begin the beginning. And the same thing is that's what the Rambam is alluding to. Don't end with the prat, but right away go back to the klal. And right away back into the klal, just beginning, the Rambam opens up his works by quoting a pasuk. The Rambam does it continuously, and he doesn't have to be from the Chumash. It can be a pasuk from Nach. And the Rambam opens up the entire Yad HaChazaka by quoting a pasuk in Tehillim, where David HaMelech is saying that Oz lo evoish, that then I will not be ashamed, Bahabiti, when I will look, El Kol Mitzvah to all your mitzvahs. That's the beginning of the Rambam. The Rambam actually begins B'Shem Hashem Keil Olam, with the name of God, who is the kindness and the power of the world. And he quotes Ozli Evash, I won't be ashamed, Bahabiti, when I will look, I'll call mitzvah to all your mitzvahs. And the Rebbe explains like this, that Rambam's goal, like we mentioned, was to put together in one work the entire oral Torah. And this was not a simple thing. The Rambam was a human being. A woman gave birth to him. But it's so beyond that many people found his intro almost nonsensical and arrogant, but he's writing all of the oral Torah in one work. And the Rambam, to succeed, he needed to reorganize the entire Torah. And the Rambam reorganized the entire Torah. This is beyond a normal human being's capacity. And when the Rambam set out to do the work, the Rambam was addressing someone who might question the Rambam himself. Like, who gave you the chutzpah to go ahead and do something so great? And the answer that Rambam is giving everyone is that he felt that God gave him that power, that God gave him an extraordinary mind. And God created circumstances that the Rambam had 10 years where he did not have to work for a living. And he devoted those 10 years to writing the Yad HaChazak. So the Rambam is really saying that David HaMelech is saying is that when you look at all of the mitzvahs, who can look at all of the mitzvahs? Very few people can grasp all of the mitzvahs. But if you are able to do it, don't be ashamed with your gift. Don't say, who am I to do it? It's arrogant to do something that's way beyond the standard. No, don't be ashamed. If you have a koyach, if God gave you a gift and you know that you are able to do it, then push yourself and do it and don't be ashamed. And that's the beginning of everything. And I think that's a very important introduction, that when it comes to people like us, that we have a schus, that the Rebbe gave us as atakana, and he gave us the koyach to learn daily Rambam. And all of these large learning undertakings are very humbling because they take many years to complete. And especially, my friends, if it's a daily learning, God has to make so many miracles for you that every day you should be able to do it. And who says I'll be successful? And people start thinking about themselves not the way they should. They don't see the greatness that they have, and they don't even embark on this endeavor. So the Rambam wasn't only writing about himself, but the Rambam is writing to you, and the Rambam is writing to me. Undertake learning the Rambam. Undertake learning the entire oral Torah. It sounds like a too great of an undertaking. You can do it. The Rambam says you can do it. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. God gave you the koyach. God gave us the koyach. That's especially because the fact that the Rebbe enacted is, that in itself gives us the koyach. So Hashem should bless all of us, that we should learn a lot of Torah together, and beginning with the shiurim of our Rabbeim, which is Chitas and Rambam, and we can even speak specifically about the Rambam. That's the Rebbe's takana. And again, whether you're going to undertake to do it for a week or for 3 weeks, but now is the time to make a hachlata, one step at a time. That let's say for the next 3 weeks, that bli neder, I won't miss a day. And whoever already is learning this for many, many cycles, maybe now is the time to add to your learning. Like if someone is learning a Perek a day, I want to give a suggestion. Maybe go for the 3 chapters a day. And if you think it's too overwhelming, okay, so then maybe learn a Perek and learn the mitzvah day. Just add a little bit, because we have to have growth. And I can definitely say that people who learn the Rambam, I know these are lifelong endeavors, but let's go with one chapter a day. I want to tell you something that in 10 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to see real growth, which is very important, because without growth in Torah, if a Jew is already observant, there isn't real growth. God forbid. A Yid can be frum, and that is so true for Balei Tshuva. I say this many times. If someone is about Tshuva, that means that if 10 years ago they were not keeping Shabbos and they weren't eating kosher, and now they are our Shabbos and they're frum a Yidden, and there's a tremendous sense of accomplishment. I look back and I say, wow, I grew. But here's the challenge. What's going to be in 10 years from now? What will be your growth? We're not meant to be the same. And once we're keeping now, of course, we can grow in the observance. Everyone has to grow in the observance. But the real growth that we all have, and that's what the HaRambam writes at the end, is L'dasas Hashem, and beginning with Torah. And bottom line, beginning with the bottom line of Torah, which is the oral Torah. So Chevra L'chaim, Hashem should inspire us to inspire each other to undertake. Let's go for 3 weeks. Let's go at least for 2 weeks. At least for 1 week, but push yourself. Don't make it too easy. Don't make it beyond. Don't make it too easy. And it's a daily learning. And in this merit that we are doing our part of learning the totality of all the mitzvahs. So this is so aligned with the life of the Rebbe. The Rambam is the Rebbe's takana, but the life of the Rebbe is to bring Mashiach. The best way of shouting Ad Masai is learning all the mitzvahs. And by this, we tell God that allow us to do it. We are trying to do them all. We are learning them all, and learning without doing is nothing. So when we do our learning, God willing, Hashem is going to allow us to bring our learning into action, and that will be with the coming of Mashiach now. Amen. Chavra, mazel tov alachai.
Amen. Amen. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Shkoyach.
Chaim.
Rabbi, what if you're constantly struggling? So you're constantly about tshuva, so you constantly are always outdoing. You know what I mean? You're constantly proud of yourself. Aha.
Middle of yourself.
What was that?
Rebbe's point is don't set the bar low.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Wow, I'm so great. I went to shul on Shabbos. How great is that? After 2,000 years of Golus, the fact that I still go to shul on Shabbos, no, yes and no. Yeah, but you already did that last week. You did that 2 weeks ago. So now what?
Yeah.
We have to put the bar a little bit higher.
Sure.
Chaim, I'm not the MC. I think the MC is Chaim Mordechay. I want to make a l'chaim to myself.
Yeah.
Eli, celebrating his Yom Haledes.
Mazel tov.
That you're starting your Yom Haledes in the beginning of a whole cycle, in the beginning of the and all of that be like a new beginning.
Amen.
On the right way, learning Rambam, and the whole world is open in front of us. L'chaim, mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Chaim.
L'chaim Eli. So the rabbi just talked about the fact that when you make a siyum, you have to connect the end to the beginning. And I had the privilege of
That's the law.
There you go. Exactly what the rabbi said. So I had the privilege of learning with Yaakov Kolmaiko, preparing him for the siyum that he made today. And we decided what better sikha to learn than the sikha that Rebbe made when he made the first Hadron, the first siyum on the Siyum HaRambam in 1985, Afshin Mem Hey, which was also the Rebbe's birthday. And for the first 12 Isis, the Rebbe talked about the birthday and how it is, why are all the Chassidim coming together to celebrate one person's birthday. And the Rebbe explained that it's not just one person's birthday. In reality, when there's a birthday, we're actually all celebrating together. It's everybody's birthday, and we all share in that simcha. So first of all, l'chaim to Eli, a happy birthday and a shas tzlachah. And we get to celebrate and participate in your birthday. And look how many people are online. This is mamish very good times. It's like Persumei Nisa. Tanach chaim avracha u'fanatzno.
Amen. Thank you.
Absolutely. So in Sif Yud Gimel, the Rebbe talks about the Rambam. And he says something very interesting. He starts off talking about how great the Rambam is. And the Rebbe says, how do you know how great the Rambam is? Because it says on his caver, which is in Tiberia, that that from Moshe until Moshe, nobody came like Moshe. And the Rebbe said the fact that so many Gedalador, that so many people from all walks of life, came to the Rambam's caver, and not one person ever said, no, that's not a true statement. Must mean that literally from Moshe Rabbeinu, who took the Jewish people out of Egypt, and more importantly, he gave us the Torah. There hasn't been somebody like Moshe until Moshe the Rambam, because he took the Torah that Moshe brought us, and like the Rabbi said, he organized it into a fashion where you can literally complete Kol Torah Kulo with all the Torah Shabbat and the Torah Shabbat. And then the Rebbe talked about the Hadron itself, and the Rebbe finished off the end of the Rambam. And the Rebbe said that the end of the Rambam, what's the mitzvah? The mitzvah is that when Mashiach comes, we're going to spend all of our time l'da'at Hashem, to know Hashem. Not to believe in Hashem, but we're going to actually know Hashem according to the capability that we have. And the Rebbe says this is exactly going full circle, full Siyum, back to the beginning of the Rambam, the first mitzvah that the Rambam has. You say this. The foundation is Leda, to know that there's a Motzer Rishon, that there's a primary entity who created the entire world. And again, the Rebbe says, you see by the Rambam, when he starts it off, he doesn't say Lahamin. There's no Amun as Hashem to believe that there's a God that created the world and created everything that's within the world. It's Leda, to know that there's a God. And so this lotion of Das in the first mitzvah, and Das all the way in the last halach of the Rambam, it's the same exact thing. And like the Rabbi said, it is Klal and Prat. And the Rambam starts b'chlos, and he starts with the Yisei Torah and the different how to conduct yourself as a human being on planet Earth. And the end of the culmination of why did Hashem put us on planet Earth, the Rebbe says, is Ani Nevreisel Shamish Askeni. I was created to serve my master. And that means to go ahead and into the world and all the details that the Rambam brings. If you look, they're all about Gashmis. They're all about going into the world and perfecting the world and elevating the world until you get to the conclusion of the Rambam, which is that's what brings Mashiach. And that's what brings the light into the world to the point that L'das Hashem, we're going to be able to know Hashem. Like the Kamam Machasim, like the Rabbi said, like the waters cover the ocean. And the Rebbe says even more than this. Why the Rambam Dafka? It says the Rambam, he lived in Golus. And in Golus, it's very, very like the Friedrich Rebbe. Very, very tsar, very, very oppressive. And Dafka, when you're oppressed, you could literally, when you're crushed, like we learned in when the Rabbi taught us the Atat Tzava Maimer. Dafka, when you're crushed, you could produce amazing, amazing fruit. And we saw this also by Rashi, and we saw this by the Rambam, that Dafka specifically, because you're in exile and you're going to Egypt and you're going to Morocco, I don't know, you're going all over, I think Spain maybe even also, but wherever you're going, you could literally achieve, because you're oppressed, you could achieve to go ahead and write a magnum opus of the Rambam. And the Rebbe finished off and says 100% that it's very, very important, as we say, to learn Kol HaTorah Kulo, to learn the entire Torah. And until the Rambam came, you didn't have, it was something that was not feasible to go ahead and learn the whole entire Torah, because there's always more to train him, and there's more Torah Shabbat. And after when the Rambam came on the scene and was able to organize, he was the one that even before Shulchan Aruch and even before the other commentators and the Achreinim were able to go ahead and make a Shulchan Aruch, the Rambam was the first one that went through and organized all the laws of the Torah. And the Rebbe says one more thing. Unlike Shulchan Aruch, that it only has the laws that are applicable today, for the most part, there are only laws that are applicable today. That Rambam includes all 613 commandments, especially those mitzvahs that we're only going to be able to do when Mashiach comes. The Rambam includes those in his Yad HaChazorah. So L'chaim Chaim Avrocho, just champion what the Rabbi just said. It's a good time, right? Literally right now, we're starting already the Machzer. For people that are doing one parak a day, we're starting cycle 14. Which is the Yad HaChazorah, Yad. And for those that are doing 3 prakim a day, Yashar Chelam, this is going to be the 40th cycle, if I'm not mistaken, that they're doing. And what I thought was most interesting was I was listening to the Rebbe's Divrei Kivushin for today in Toshin and Aleph, which is Shuvah Subatamos. And the Rebbe at the end brings down this pasuk. I'm like, the Rambam is Messiah, Kimol Ars Deis Avayas Kamayim Machasim. So already 20 whatever years ago, the Rebbe was already big mash from the Siyum that the Rambam made on Shivos B'Tammuz, Toshin and Aleph. So L'chaim Chaim Avraham.
Eli, say something.
Huh?
Birthday boy.
It's on me. Oh, hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming and joining. It's beautiful to share a very special day. My birthday, and it correlates with the Siyum HaRambam. Interestingly, just by the way, I give a shiur also on the Kutei Deburim in English, and we just finished the first volume of the English Kutei Deburim. So I guess there's like big culminations happening, and in Mitzvah Hashem, we should have the biggest culmination of Golus. We should go straight to the Geula. I'll just share a little bit of a mimer that I was learning for my birthday, and it's based on Parshas Pinchas. And in Parshas Pinchas, it talks about how they were distributing after the Yidden were going to go. Hashem gives the command that after the Yidden are going to go into Eretz Yisrael, they're going to split up the land, right? And Hashem says that it should be done that the land should be split up by lot, by a lottery or by a raffle, right? And how did they do it? They took 12 pieces of paper and they wrote each portion on it, and they took another 12 and they wrote each shevet, and they took one from one and they said this shevet goes over here and this one goes over here. So the Rebbe brings beautifully that it was done in two ways. First, it was done by Elazar Kohen, and that he had Ruach HaKodesh and he apportioned the land, and then it was done through a raffle. And the Rebbe brings a beautiful point, and this is a point that the concept of a raffle is something that's higher than our understanding. It's higher than nature, right? It's a raffle. It doesn't make any sense, right? This person goes for here. A raffle doesn't make any sense. And why does it say that? And then the Rebbe says that what does it mean to acquire the land, to conquer the land? It's not just talking about Eretz Yisrael, because we know that the Torah applies every day and now today, right? Even something that happened previously applies today. So the apportioning of the land today is apportioning a place that we could bring Hashem and make a dir b'tachtonim. And the Rebbe says, how do you do that? The main way of doing that is with the Geirol, with going higher than nature, with going higher than our understanding, higher than something that's logical, and that's the way that we're going to be able to conquer the land and to make a place and a dir b'tachtonim. So it's beautiful that now we're being the Siyum the Rambam, and like the rabbi spoke, right? The Rambam, it doesn't make any sense how he put something like this. So I would suggest to if someone is having a little bit of a struggle of whether to learn Rambam or not, now's the time to make a raffle, go above, go jump over your understanding. How do you have the time throughout the day? And I've heard countless times that people that said I can only do one parak, but then they said and they went to 3, right? You find the time to have it. You find the time to do it. You just have to go and do it and go to Maila from your seichel and go higher and take the plunge, jump. So l'chaim everyone, my birthday, so I have a power. I want to bless each and every one of you on here, including your families and the whole Klal Yisrael, to have a beautiful, healthy year of only brachas, the gashmius, the baruchnis, and we should mamish see Mashiach right now, and we should only have revealed good in our lives, and health, and wealth, and success in everything that we put our hearts and minds to for the good. L'chaim v'bracha, and mazel tov, mazel tov.
Amen. Mazel tov.
L'chaim.
So the minute for is that we all go on mute and Chaim sings a niggin.
Ay da 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 la, ay da 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 la, ay da da la la la, ay da da la, ay da da la, ay da da la la, ay da la la la, mama mo, ay da ya 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 la la, ay da la, ay da la, ay da la la la, ay da la, ay da la, ay da la la. Hey, la la la, ma ma ma. Hey, la la. Hayo, mama, la 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 la, mama, ma. Hey, la 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 la, mama, ya la la, la la, la 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 la. Hey, la la, mama, mama, yo, mama, mama. Hey, la 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 la, la 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 la. Hey, la la, ma ho, hey, la la la, la la la, la hey, la hey, la la. Hey, la la, mama, la la la, la la, mama, mama, mama. Oh, yeah, mama, la la la, la la la, hey, la hey, yeah. Hey, ya, ma, yo, ma, mama. La lo lo mama yo hi la 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 ho ya mama yo mama la ho ya mama ya hey la HaRambam. So Rabbi Elyahu was telling us that he has a Lukutei Diburim, and it's a WhatsApp. It's a beautiful thing. And literally they're like 3 to 5 minute snippets, and Rabbi Elyahu literally goes, paragraph by paragraph through Lukutei Diburim in English, which is amazing. I remember reading, and I don't remember where I read it, but I think it was one of the Mashpim Lubavitch. They complained no, I think it was to our Rebbe, that how could it be that the Bachrim, before they go to bed, they're reading in their pajamas Lukutei Diburim. It cost them. When we were in yeshiva, we used to learn Lukutei Diburim, before going to sleep. That was our bedtime novel. And the Rebbe says, what do you mean, how you talking? That's the only way a chassid should go to sleep is by learning Lukutei Diburim. That's the way to prepare to go to sleep. That's the preparation. Because when a chassid goes to sleep like a chassid, he wakes up like a chassid, the Rebbe says. So if anybody's not already on Rabbi Eli's WhatsApp, this is the time to go ahead and join the WhatsApp. Definitely plug. Because how could you go to sleep without learning Lukutei Diburim in English? L'chaim. Rabbi Elyahu was talking about the fact that when they split up the land of Eretz Yisrael, they split it very interesting. Rabbi Elyahu said 2 ways. There were actually 3 ways. So first of all, there was Elazar the Kohen, and he was dressed with the Choshen and the Urim V'Tumim, and Moshe, and they had Ruach HaKodesh, and they said, this piece of land is going to go to this Shevet. In addition to that, they had the lottery. So every Nasi of the Shevet, they went literally and they put 2 hands into 2 different baskets. One had 12 pieces that had the name of every Shevet, and one had 12 pieces that had the name of every piece of land that was going to be divided. And miraculously, the Nasi went ahead and he pulled out his own Shevet's paper and the piece of land that the Elazar HaKohen just said he's going to get. And then there was a 3rd miracle that Rebbe talks about. The Torah talks about it. It says, Al Pi HaGeirol. The Geirol actually talked. It says the Geirol, the Rebbe says, Tzeveach, that the Geirol screamed. The piece of paper screamed and says, yes, this piece of land is going to this Shevet. The Rebbe says God doesn't do miracles for no reason. Here you already have Ruach HaKodesh. On top of Ruach HaKodesh, you have the Geirol, which is higher than Tamadas that Rabbi Elyahu just talked about. Why did the lottery itself have to go ahead and scream and say, I belong to such and such Shevet? So the Rebbe prefaces this with the story of the Tzemach Tzedek. It says that there was a chassid that went to the Tzemach Tzedek and he asked the Tzemach Tzedek, he wanted to make an Aliyah. He wanted to go and move to Eretz Yisrael. So before he did that, Tzemach Tzedek told him, where are you moving to Eretz Yisrael? Mach du Eretz Yisrael. Make Eretz Yisrael over here. You're in Europe, you're in Lubavitch right now, make Lubavitch Eretz Yisrael. And the Rebbe asks a very similar question. We know we daven 3 times a day that we should all go to Israel, rebuild the temple. Our whole entire endeavor is to go to Eretz Yisrael. And here, the Tzemach Tzedek is telling the chassid, no, don't go to Eretz Yisrael. Take out Eretz Yisrael and make it here in Golus. I thought our whole job is to get out of Golus and to go and transition to Eretz Yisrael. Why is the Tzemach Tzedek telling the chassid to make Eretz Yisrael here? And the answer is even more confounded by the fact that we know, the rabbi just read it. Ot kum Mashiach. We have to believe that right now, literally right now, the next second Mashiach is coming. If the next second Mashiach is coming, why should I involve myself right here in Golus and make new shuls and make more mikvahs and make more schools? Why do I have to involve myself over here in Golus? In 1 second, Mashiach's going to come. I'm going to go to the Eretz Yisrael. And therefore, why do I have to waste myself building up Golus right now and doing everything that I could in Golus? I'm going to Israel tomorrow. And the Rebbe says, this is the answer to these questions is why the lottery had to talk. Because we know that the lottery and the division of Eretz Yisrael was just a means to an end. It was just a preparation. That was the intent. The intent was the Jews would conquer Eretz Yisrael and they live in the land. And once they lived in the land, they would have all the mitzvahs that are applicable to the land of Israel. They would now be chayiv. They would now be obligated in those mitzvahs. But in order to get there, first you have to divide up the land. And therefore the division of the land was just a preparation. So to Golus is a preparation. We can't just go to Geula without having Golus, without having some kind of preparation where we go ahead and perfect the world and make the world ready to have Mashiach's coming, to have a revelation of godliness in the world. Now, when we're dealing with the world, there's a very, very famous story with the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab, he was going to say a mimer. Now, the Chassidim, they started, before you say a mimer, you sing a song. Even every Saturday night, I don't know if David Hamam is on, but Raven, Shabbos, right before it ends, we say a mimer. We sing a niggin. So the Rebbe Rashab Chassidim, they started to sing the song fast. It's a very, very slow and solemn niggin, and they started to sing it very, very fast. Why? The Rebbe Rashab saw they want to get to the mimer. They don't want to sing so much. Just go give us the mimer. We want to hear the Torah. So when the song finished, instead of the Rebbe Rashab launching into the mimer, the Rebbe Rashab gave a whole entire sichum. And I think this is the take-home message. A lot of times when we're in something, and even if it's something that's a preparation for something else, but right now that's what we're involved with, we have to be involved with it 100%. We have to invest ourselves 100%, even if it's just a preparation. And once we're done with the preparation, and now it comes time to actually do whatever it is that we were preparing for, then we involve ourselves 100% in that action. But 100% when we're in the preparation to be there, 100% Mesiras Nefesh to put your whole entire soul into it. And then when you go ahead and to do the action, you have to do the same way. So when we're talking about dividing the land of Eretz Yisrael, when you divide Eretz Yisrael, it's a preparation. But even those preparation, Moshe and Elazar put themselves 120% into the task of dividing up the land of Eretz Yisrael, because that's where they were up to. And when they divided Eretz Yisrael, how is it 120%? Because when a Jew is involved in any mitzvah, even if it's Shema or a mitzvah that depends on the thought or depends on the feelings of the heart, we always make sure that it comes out b'machshava, dibra, and ma'isa, thought, speech, and action. And therefore, when Moshe and Elazar put themselves into dividing Eretz Yisrael, there had to be 3 aspects. There had to be the thought, the Ruach HaKodesh, There had to be the action, the actual going and picking up the lotteries that the Siyum did. But there also had to be a level of dibur, because without those 3 levels, you can't conquer the land. And therefore, the lotteries, the lots themselves spoke, and they said, I belong to such and such a shevet. And so too when it comes to preparing for the final redemption. We're literally sitting in exile right now. And in exile, we have a mission. While we're in exile, we're in exile. And we're in exile 100%, which means that while we're here, even if it's only for 1 more second, we have to do everything in our power to build up Golos and to make and transform that part of Golos into Eretz Yisrael. And that means on a communal level, with the community, making your community aware and prepared for Mashiach coming, your family, and for sure your colleagues at work and friends and people that we interact with. Because when we do it on a grassroots level, it prepares the whole entire world for the coming Mashiach. And so even though it's the preparation, we invest ourselves 100% thought, speech, and deed. And so too, the Rebbe says that now that we're at the culmination, we've already polished the buttons. And not only that, when you polish the buttons too much, they lose their shine. And so to us right now, we're literally at that cusp. We're at the end of exile. We're literally building those last Chabad houses and the last Aiden project that we need in Golos and the last mikvah and everything else that we need. Why? Because that's the last part of not Eretz Yisrael, of Golos, that we have to transform into Eretz Yisrael. Because when Golos is transformed into Eretz Yisrael, there's a very famous Gemara in Sanhedrin. I think it's in Sanhedrin, that says that when Mashiach comes, what's now Yerushalayim will expand throughout the whole entire region of what's now Eretz Yisrael. And Eretz Yisrael will go ahead and expand throughout the entire world. And how does how the Rebbe says the land of Eretz Yisrael expand throughout the entire world? It's based on the Jewish people, our service in exile, of literally transforming. We transform Golos into Eretz Yisrael. When Mashiach comes, he won't have to do anything. We've already transformed it in a way of Ufaratzim. We're literally going Parshas Pinchas. Pinchas Elyahu. We know Pinchas is the same as Elijah the prophet. And Elyahu we know is going to be Mavasa, the Gula. He's going to come and he's going to herald the Gula. And the Rebbe says, and since it says Elyahu Nabi has to come before Mashiach comes, and Mashiach is coming in the next second, it must mean Elyahu Nabi already came. Elyahu Nabi already came. And our Bachar, her birthday, Yom Huledes, is Elyahu Baruch. I don't know if that's because of Pinchas. I think probably because of Pinchas. That's Pinchas Elyahu. You should really have a shas hatzlacha. Everything that you touch should be literally hatzlacha, success in all the things. School and the teaching and literally taking these last segments of Golos and transforming them into Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, Eli, you're up.
I'm up. We can sing a niggin.
I'm going to ask Daniel has the actual Siyum HaRambam that the Rebbe made, so I'm going to ask him to maybe share his screen and we'll go on mute.
Daniel, if you want, I can play it from my screen. I have it also. Does that work?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, hold on. Let me just pull it up. All right, hold on. Okay. Working? I don't hear it. Is it working?
We hear.
You hear it? Okay, I couldn't hear it. Okay, I'm gonna play it from the beginning. Hold on. Here we go.
Der Loch achrein hebt sich an, und bei jese Hazman, wo das kommt behemschig zu der Friedeke Loche, also das Mann, wo das Jemes HaMashiach, le Yiyeshom, le Rov, le Milchome, nicht kein Hunger und nicht kein Milchomes. Le Kina Vesachlus wird nicht sein, kein Kina und Strachlus zwischen sich. Und sagt auf der Ufeche Tatam, שהטבע מתעשין בתחילוסה, das הנוסח von הטעם, ודפר was die טבע was sie damals sein. wird sein מושפע הרבה, wird sein הסך טבע. In der Tobe Pashtus kein Siebe, soll sein Kina, Allahs Kama wie Kama, es kann nicht sein kein Roh, wie bald am Rot Teva Harbe.
Yeah, Shukla, Ellie. Dad, are you on?
Yeah.
Oh, we can't see your face, but it's time for your story.
All right. Sing a song first. I'll get.
Just sing a song.
Sing a song. Everybody's gonna hang up.
Oh, man. Yeah, no. There, Mendel, you have a niggin? Mendel's on mute. Yeah. Now Mendel's off. All right. We'll do a niggin from the Rebbe. Vehi sheyom no la v'seino velo no shelo yechol belvado madaleinu lachaleseinu elo shebechel devader eindim aleinu lachaleseinu v'hakodesh baruch hu matzilenu meyodom elo shebechel devader eindim aleinu lachaleseinu elo shebechel devader eindim aleinu lachaleseinu Einem aleinu, einem aleinu lachaleseinu, v'hakodesh baruch hu matzileinu miyodom, v'hakodesh baruch hu matzileinu miyodom. I just want to shout out to HaRambam Mendel Zions. Mendel on Shabbos gave an amazing Farbrengen. By the way, it's Farbrengen. 17 people sitting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. No food, no mashka, nothing. They're just sitting there in Farbrengen for Yud Beis Tammuz, listening to Mendel. So that by the way, that's something. That's something. You don't see that very often. But Mendel talked about Yud Beis Tammuz, how Yud Beis Tammuz always comes in conjunction with Chukas and Bolok. In both parshas, you had enemies that tried to destroy the Jewish people, and they were unsuccessful. All of the Ammonim and the Canaanim and Amoraim that tried to destroy the Jewish people, Sichar and Eig and Chukas. And for sure in Bolok, when Bilam tried to go ahead and curse the Jewish people, everything was changed to blessing. And so too with the Frierdiker Rebbe, who went literally, he challenged the whole entire regime. And it was a communist regime that killed tens of millions of people. You can't even imagine. And he went up against everybody, and from a death sentence, everything was transformed from Klola to Bracha. And not only was he redeemed, but literally the people that put him in jail, they helped him and they freed him and they helped him leave Russia, and he went to Latvia and then to America. Before they themselves were arrested. That's another thing. You may be on top, but you're not on top for long, especially if you're the enemy. But that being said, we're coming into Pinchas, and Pinchas shares the same thing. Pinchas was a zealot. What's a zealot? A kanoi, hot-blooded. In general, a kanoi is hot-blooded. And when the Torah talks about Pinchas, the Torah very, very clearly articulates and goes ahead and traces Pinchas' lineage, not on his mother's side, but dafka to the father's side. That it's Pinchas ben Elazar ben Ahar in Arkoyin. Why? Because the Jewish people, they said, how could it be? This guy, this little Pinchas, right? Who does he come from? He comes from, his mother was Yisrael's, daughter, if I'm not mistaken. He comes from Yisrael's family. His grandfather used to fatten the cows to go ahead and shech them for the Avodah Zarah. So it makes sense Pinchas would be a zealot. It's in his blood. His blood is hot. His blood is for shechting. His blood comes from Yisrael's side of the family. Comes the Torah, and the Torah says, no. Pinchas was from Aaron's side of the family. And Aaron was a Reidav Shalom. He was very, very calm. He was very, very peace-seeking. And Pinchas had to break his nature. It wasn't that his nature was to be hot-blooded and to be zealot. But when Pinchas did his zealousy, it was because his nature was calm and cool and collected. And he had to break his nature to go ahead and act like Pinchas and to go ahead and stop a Chilul Hashem from happening, which was also 100% the Frierdiker Rebbe. The Rebbe says that the Frierdiker Rebbe, he didn't go out looking for Mesiras Nefesh. He wasn't out there, where could I find Mesiras Nefesh and then I could go ahead and fulfill it. The same as Avraham Avinu. But when Mesiras Nefesh came through the path of the Frierdiker Rebbe embraced it wholeheartedly, and he went full force ahead to go ahead and to accomplish the mission and to have Mesiras Nefesh, to have a Kiddush Hashem. And now I'm going to hand it over to the weekly story about our father.
Chaim, everybody. Mazel tov. HaRambam from last night to today. Yep. And Mazel tov to the birthday boy. You should be Hatzlacha and many years of health and success and Ruknes and Gashmitz. This is a story from Rabbi Yitzchak Idan, who used to study or used to head a yeshiva in Bnei Brak. And, later on he went and he became the mayor of the city of Elad in Israel. And it says that he had come one time to New York, to go ahead and visit the Ohel. And this was in the year 2006. And it says that there were many, many people there that time that was there. Not sure what the occasion was, but they went and he was there with some friends and they were davening by the Ohel, and they noticed a young boy and a girl that had come in with all the crowd that's there. And they looked very, very uncomfortable and looked like they were watching all the people that was there like security guards. And the rabbi kind of looked at them and he looked at, one of his friends and said, see those two young people, they look like security guards, but they look like 12 or 13 years old. They are too young to be security guards. So the friend of this rabbi went over to them and says, is there anything I can do to help you? And they said, no. And they both left the Ohel. And 5 minutes later, they both came back into the Ohel and they went again. And the rabbi went up to them and said, is there anything I can do to help you? You look like you need some help. And they realized that the rabbi was serious, that wanted to help them. And they went and they said that 12 years earlier when they were young, like infants, very, very small, their mother and their father had got into an argument. And the father, and the families got involved and everybody there, and the father left the house. And the mother thought the father would return and he never came back. And so this mother on her own raised these two children, and now they're like 12, 13 years old. And they had never seen their father since that one night when they were babies. And they got involved with Chabad, and they said that maybe you could go ahead and write a letter and put it in the Igros, that you want to find your father, and maybe the Rebbe can help you and give you advice. So the girl wrote a letter and put it in the Igros, and she went, and that night she went and she had a dream. And in the dream, there was a long line of people waiting to see the Lubavitcher Rebbe to get $1. And when it got to her